Hey guys, this is Goddess Starla Vamp, back for another segment of Ask a Dominatrix, where I answer your questions about fetish, BDSM, and kink. Goddess, are you also skilled with ropes? No, I'm not. I know one rope tie. I don't even know what it's called, but it's a knot that doesn't tighten on itself. I like to use it on wrists. And other than that, I'm not overly ambitious about rope bondage. I'll admire a nice suspension, and I'm happy for people if they're enthusiastic about it, but I don't want to be held accountable for different rope ties and things like that. It's a physics on the body. It makes me nervous. I don't want to tie the ropes too tight. I'm not suspending anyone from the air. I don't need anybody to fall. I don't need to be haunted by stories of, oh, I tied the rope wrong and this and this and this. Yeah, the inner politics of it are kind of like overwhelming, and I just don't have enough drive to dive deep into the world of ropes. But I do like a nice pair of fake handcuffs, and I'm kind of a pussy about it. I'll take the fake fur on it too, like the pink fake fur. I think it's cute. Okay, someone's asked me a question here. Hello, Goddess. Can you tell me what is the maximum safe limit of weight to hang on men's balls in your opinion? And my answer is I'm not going to answer this. I don't know what your body's capable of. I don't know what your preferences are, so I'm not going to tell you the limit. I'm going to advise that you use weights that are distributed through a sex shop. Use products that already exist because they've been tested out and they're reasonable. If you just want to keep going and going and going, hanging stuff off your balls, you can be your own worst enemy. And it's a very sad position to be in when you only have yourself to blame and you are dealing with your future self looking back thinking, I was so dumb. Why did I do that? What was I thinking? Why did I hang that extra brick off my balls? Now I have permanent injury. So if you ever come to this point, you know it was you that did it, and you only have yourself to blame, and that's something that you have to live with. So within all reality, you want to be practical and healthy about your decisions in, if you want to call it, your masochism. And coming from someone where I would say when I was younger, because I was younger, I identified more as a masochist and played with pain. And I was able to do that with my younger body as my younger self. And over time, I just can't do the same things that I like to do to the extent that I like to do them. Obviously, I'm covered in tattoos. I have piercings. As an example, my skin is softer. It's more delicate. I probably wouldn't have been able to have these tattoos now because it would just hurt too much. My skin is a lot more delicate. And it's kind of sad, and it's a shame if you're a masochist and you really like the adventure of overcoming pain physically and psychologically. But this is a reality that we all deal with. We all deal with our aging bodies. And it's best to come up with healthy, realistic strategy. And I think something that we're really striving for is a way of coping. Because I know when I was playing as a masochist, it was a way to cope, to deal with probably anxieties and stress. And I just can't do those kinds of things anymore. I used to play with a master, and we would have some really racy days, some really racy times. And I just can't be bound up the same way. I can't be spanked the same way. And I'm just in a different place in my life. I wouldn't want to play the same way either. So I know this is a long explanation, but just know that you're the one who has to age with your body. And when you want to be overzealous about hanging an extra whatever, don't hang bricks off your balls. Like, come on. You're the one living in your body. And don't hate me for saying this, but you have to understand these things that you can be really excited about, they just fucking get boring. When you first discover these things, it's like a honeymoon phase. And forgive me, but it just gets fucking boring. So maybe you're with a younger mistress and you're pushing the envelope with hanging stuff off your balls, and maybe she's really into it and really excited. But 20 years down the road, it's not going to be the same attraction. The shine wears off. And so, for example, I'm going to use my tattoos again. For example, I was so into getting tattooed. It is thrilling, and I like the process a lot, and it's something that really got my endorphins up, and I like the artistic messages and everything. And then it gets to a point where, oh shit, I already did all that. I'm getting tattooed for like not the millionth time, but it's a wash, rinse, and repeat at this point. And what used to be just absolutely thrilling and my go-to adventure, it's like, it's repetition. So just be kind to your balls, because not only are you going to get bored, your mistress is going to get bored, if you have the same mistress. But these things that are really exciting to you, just don't project that the person you're with holds it in the same excitement, because it might be your second time hanging stuff off your balls with a mistress, but it's going to be her 50th time seeing it. And she might be doing it. Well, there's a whole slew of reasons why she's there, what the arrangement is for her. Maybe ultimately it's for a connection. It's for some kind of companionship. But is it exciting? Not fucking necessarily. Boredom is real. And another tangent I want to go off on is to just stay socialized. This might sound so dumb, but I'm guilty of this. Like, I live in my own head and I try to stay balanced, but sometimes you start going off in this direction and you're looking for your hobbies and interests, and it just gets really eccentric. Let's call this the deep end. You don't want to stay in the deep end. I think ultimately people want to be accepted. They want to fit in. And sometimes with our interests they can just go overboard. And I'm guilty of this. I'm not going to share what the idea was, but I had this idea in my head. I want to do this. And then I called up one of my really good friends, a confidant, and I said, should I do this? Is it too eccentric? What is that? He's like, what? Why do you need that? Why are you doing that? What for? And I thought, okay, yeah, it doesn't fit my lifestyle. It doesn't make sense. Why would I do that? So sometimes it's just good to check in with people close to you. I don't have that many friends anymore, but the friends I do have, I like to confide and get their opinion about things. Call up a couple people. What do you think of this? And bounce ideas back and forth. Or maybe not just your mistress, because she's gonna, well, not necessarily, but she might just fuel anything that you throw at her. But it's good to just get a balanced opinion of things, to ultimately stay socialized, if that makes sense. This isn't a question, but a comment. And I just want to say it's really nice when I get messages like this. Hello, I love your YouTube videos. Keep doing it. Because I don't know. I myself, I don't know how I'm being received. And if I can offer any clarity, relieve any anxiety, or just deep self-doubt about having a fetish, if I can give any relief or advice, but ultimately life advice, because we want longevity. We want to live a long time. I want to live a long time. Hopefully you do. So let's figure this shit out in the most effective way. And I'm saying we, because you guys support me. And I wouldn't be here if I didn't have an audience. So what are we going to leave behind? Let's not be assholes about pleasure and hedonism. I think we want to be fulfilled. But ultimately, I think a goal is to pass on knowledge. And with knowledge, you need to be honest and truthful, because there's no wisdom in bullshit. There's no wisdom in selfish excuse. It doesn't resonate with reality, and it doesn't resonate with time. So for as cryptic as the human mind and sex is, if we're honest about it, and if we can have honest discussions, it's going to be documented and sit there, and then hopefully someone will stumble upon it and enrich their life with the experiences of the people that came before them. So, okay, now a question. My question is about your makeup. Is it tattooed on? If so, did it hurt? I ask because as a sissy, I fantasize about having it done, which is really sweet and flattering, but don't try this at home. Don't do what I did. I did this myself with stick poke, and it took several years, and I had guidance from someone how to do it, how to do stick poke with that method, but I don't recommend anyone just deciding, oh, I'm gonna do that. Like I didn't do it to inspire people to imitate it. I know there's a lot more face tattoos now, but when I did this, I was a freak on the streets. Like people weren't doing a lot of face tattoos. And I have like gone and saw another tattoo artist for my eyebrows. But yeah, it's tattooed, and like honestly, it's one of the best decisions I ever made for myself, because I just had always struggled with makeup. I didn't like that it washed off. I wanted to look goth, and I didn't like that my identity washed away in the rain. Or if I cried, my identity was like all over my face. I just, I, when I was growing up, I really liked makeup. I really liked that cat eye goth look. And I identified with alternative, that word alternative, the alt chick. So it just got to a point, there was just no doubt in my mind that I wanted that. And I had to figure out how to do it, how to get it, how far I wanted to go with it. And I've had some negativity with it, but ultimately it's my life, it's my body. I've had people really celebrate it as well. But it's either love it or hate it. But at least I evoke emotion. Let's just say that. And if you fantasize about that, well, that's cool. That never even occurred to me that as a sissy you'd fantasize about getting these weird eyelashes. But that's cool. And I would recommend seeing a professional tattoo artist. I know it's really a fashion now to get that microblading. What they're doing now, those trends, those fashion trends, the microblading. And I know the eyeball tattoos are popular, but I'm going to say I do not recommend that. That would be my boundary and what I'm comfortable with recommending. But I know women, they do get the permanent eyeliner, and they seem to be okay. A lot of women do it and they like it. I personally don't want anything on my eyelid. I'm just like, get away from my eye. I won't get eye laser surgery. I wear contacts, I wear glasses. I refuse to get eye laser surgery because I don't want people touching my eyeball. So hope that answers that question. So someone has asked me, what are my views on branding? So this goes back to what I'd said earlier about you have to hold yourself accountable and you have to answer to your future self. So you're the one that's getting the branding. Can you live with it? Can you live with it every day? 10 years down the road, are you going to be like, I am a fucking moron. Why did I get that? Or are you going to feel like, you know what? That was so cool. That was so punk rock. It was just such a electric time of my life. And I was surrounded by people I loved. And I got this cool brand. And so you have to answer to yourself. If you want to do it, if you feel like you can honestly envision yourself in the future and say, yeah, I'm cool, I'm punk, that was a fun thing to do, then maybe it is for you, but maybe it's not. Maybe you're going to break up with the person who did it, the mistress, or distance yourself from the situation, and it's going to be a reminder of a bunch of negativity or a bunch of toxic behavior. So it's up to you, but I know people who have done some branding, they've done some scarification, and a lot of it is realistically do have the healing time. It's going to take a while to heal. If it's the summer and you're supposed to go to the beach with friends, is that the best time to sport your brand new brand? You know, and it's going to be healing, so you can't even go in the water. So give yourself the time to let it heal, to take care of it properly so it doesn't get infected. And also, if it does get infected, you need to take care of your body. And if you have to see a doctor about your infection, you're going to have to explain that. You're going to have to say, and just come clean and just say, hey, I let my mistress scorch me. Like, I did that. That's what happened. How do I fix it? So you have to answer to yourself and just be fucking honest about the situation. It's just, you're going to have a better outcome. If you go to the beach with a brand and your buddies see it, like, what kind of story are you going to make up? So just be kind to yourself, be good to yourself, and just don't put yourself in a shitty situation. I know somewhat seemingly conservative men with white collar jobs, they have property of Mistress S tattooed on their ass or, above their dick. And your doctor's going to see that. Somebody's going to see that. You go to the hospital, you go to get an x-ray, someone's going to notice that, or like in the locker room or something. So with tattoos, like, it is punk rock, it is fun. And I'll admit, like, I have mixed emotions about when I see a conservative man with property of mistress, whoever, at a party. It is kind of cool because it is edgy, but then chances are that they're not together, and you're looking at him like, so how long were you property? What's she doing now? Like, how's your mistress? So there's a story there, and you have to, when it's permanently on your body, you have to hold on to that narrative, and you have to answer to that narrative. And sometimes the questions are way more annoying than you can anticipate. And it can be frustrating. And when it's a frustration that you've brought on yourself, it's like, never again am I getting property of mistress tattooed. But hey, some people, you're just in the moment. It's part of the scrapbook of life, and we go forward. So my short answer is, branding can be nice. Just do it properly. Make sure the person who's doing it knows what they're doing, and that can be fun. Personally, I don't need to be branded. It's just like not on my bucket list. I have seen cell popping at some fetish parties, which is like kind of similar. It's like with this little kind of like a pencil, like a machine that I don't know how it works. I didn't get it done, but I think the scar lasts for a little while, like a few weeks, and then goes away or something. Little souvenir, I don't know. But for me, I like my tattoos. I don't need any scarification or anything. I have piercings. I don't need piercing play. Maybe I'm a pussy. I don't know. If I'm doing something like that, I want to walk away with sort of like this artistic trophy, which is permanent. But I do have some anxiety about choosing the art that I want to have on my body. And when people ask me, well, how do you choose your tattoos? I come up with something and I just go by feeling or intuition, and sometimes it can be kind of spontaneous, but it just somehow it clicks for me, and I say, okay, I'm gonna commit to this forever. Like, I'm not doing any tattoo removal. And do I regret any of my tattoos? No. I like some of them more than others, and some of them The only regret is sometimes how spontaneous they were. But I can't do that anymore. I'm running out of room. It used to be this really fun thing where I'd pick something and then run off to the tattoo parlor, and it was really exciting and fun. But I'm running out of room on my body, so that's kind of a pitfall with body modification. But anyway, there's other hobbies. Would you please consider doing a video of service chores and houseboy style servitude and what it means to you? I hope you enjoy that style of domination. Have a wonderful weekend. So I'm not, obviously right now I'm not making the video of step by step the different chores, but initially when I started the website, initially that kind of servitude just clicked in my head right away because I think it's more symbolic of like what love can be in reality, because when you live with someone, you love somebody and you make a long-term commitment, you're doing the dishes, you're cleaning the toilet, you're doing the laundry, and these are really mundane things. And if you can make it romantic, it becomes really intimate. So I found that really exciting. And the concept of a labor of love, working for love, being a slave to love. These concepts were nice when I was married and the newer stage of like all of this being introduced. And just initially how labor, it's a love for life. We are slaves to life. We're slaves to biology. We're slaves to psychology, and we're stuck in our bodies. We're trapped. We're prisoners of our bodies. We don't always agree with our bodily functions, with our roles. It can be really frustrating and alienating and repetitive and full of sadness. But to have that twist around, and it's also the acknowledgement of this work being done, of the chores being done, and having somebody else noticed, being acknowledged and appreciated, which is what I really liked. Because when you do chores solely for yourself, it's really unfulfilling. You want someone to notice. You want someone to care. And you want someone to notice you're alive. So when you're just meeting these really basic domestic needs, in isolation, it's bewildering, right? And it doesn't really feel satisfying. Like, how satisfying is it to just take care of yourself? It's not really fulfilling. It's not that social component of life that we're looking for. So I like the idea of the house, of the domestic setting, as this kind of Rubik's Cube, and you want to solve how you can make boring, sad things romantic and engaging and exciting and adventurous. And I think something that really changes that dynamic, and we are seeing this now, is how the world doesn't mind bringing a camera into their living room. And we're talking outside of BDSM, just domestic life, because we crave this audience. We want some kind of acknowledgement, like putting it on the internet, social media. Look, I clean my kitchen. The whole internet can see it. Like, we want some kind of acknowledgement. But it's the satisfaction, and it's still that social component that we're looking for, and we're wanting to match. Someone asked, what's it been like being a pioneer of making content that's genuinely pushed and open minds to female-led relationship and feminization, long-term chastity? So, in all honesty, it's pretty bewildering. The internet was a really different place. And we're talking about, so we're scaling back 2008 when I launched the website, and we'd been shooting for months before that. So this is like the beginning of 2008. And mobile devices weren't smartphones, like that wasn't a thing. And if people were surfing on the internet, it was stagnant. It was just at the computer. And it was a lot more nerdy. It wasn't so weaved into the fibers of our everyday life. And so I really had the sense that the fetish world and the fantasy was its own kind of like civilization and architecture that you could build, and there was a freedom to build it. And I had a sense of that, and I had a sense of like this wonderment and just awe for technology. And so it was something that like independent artists really embraced, and it was like this fun curiosity to like start businesses online. And the internet was like an ocean that was clear, and then over time the ocean just became really, really polluted. But in the earlier days, it was something that you could really play around with and was a lot funner. And it felt like the beginning of something. And it was underground enough and quiet enough that we could play around, and we could be punk rock about it. And it was judged and shunned, but nobody even understood enough what was happening that we were able to do it and continue doing that. And like we would pick up things from the dollar store, and like for the scenes, and gag each, like it was very amateur. It still is amateur. Like, I still don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Like, just rolling with this shit. But it was the right time to just jump into that. And when I fell into that, honestly, I was in way over my head, but I was young enough that I could keep running with it. I had enough energy and ambition and rage, I guess. You could say my rage took me pretty far. I don't know how much rage I have anymore. Like, can I get some more of that? But I had a lot of spunk, and so we projected that. And because it went up on, but okay. So 2008, the internet wasn't littered with the same amount of free tube sites. And then what our little project that we had been making, it just spread like wildfire on the free tube sites. And I didn't know that was going to happen. I thought what we were doing was always going to be this underground thing, and there would be enough of a cult following to come along with us. Like, that was my hopes and my vision of what that would be. And then it became this monster that became bigger than I was. It surpassed me. And then the internet itself, it became another monster that I still like. It's worse now. Just turn off the fucking computer. That's all you have to do. But it's a way bigger storm. Bigger than my wildest dreams and my worst nightmares. And when I see all over the internet people living these lifestyles and all this, and their content is better than mine. They're running with it further than I ever went. And they have a higher budget, and they're just cooler. I think, well, fuck. Did that actually happen? Did we start that? Because that wasn't happening when we started, but it's true. It did happen in that order. And I just don't, it's bewildering. It's totally bewildering. But if I think currently the word lifestyle is such a big word, and we're looking for lifestyle. We're looking for meaning and purpose. And those are things you have to come up with. I'm not a nihilist. I don't want to be a nihilist. I'm not going to encourage other people to be nihilists. And I will say, whatever purpose I give myself, it does change. And when I started the website, I had this feeling like, this is my purpose. This gives me purpose. This is what I want to do. I want to immortalize myself on the internet. I'm committed. I'm committed to this contract. Because I'm an artist. And now I'm like, fuck. What? Fuck this. Why? Get me out of here. I'm out. And it just doesn't work that way. I have to answer to my younger self. And I'm impressed at the things I've accomplished. But did I think it would turn out this way? No, not at all. But I'm also fascinated by the reality. And whatever my ego's changed. This shit is really humbling. So when I see, the next Dom putting on a chastity device and going about these formulas, and she's younger and hotter and has more money than me, I'm like, all right, just let it go. Let life go. Nature's just gonna take over and run its course, and I am just a cog in the machine. So to answer your question, it's bewildering. And I'm also going to say, in the earlier days when I was doing a lot of this, and I didn't realize it at the time, but just how drunk off of power I was. And it, not to say the power was money, because it wasn't, and I'm not rich, but I felt a certain kind of power and energy, and I felt so alive, like on fire. And I was able to keep repeating that behavior and keep getting that rush and that liveliness. And then the hardest thing now is dealing with, like in all reality, dealing with the competition, but also dealing with my aging self. Can I be as athletic and do this to the men? And for what I lack in the sport of it, I like to think my mind absorbed all the experience and it's stored away. And that's something that has to shift. And if I can communicate that change, then that's what I intended. So someone has asked me, would you ever consider taking another For Femme Dom bride? And yes, I have. I guess the longer answer to this question, though, is like, would I ever repeat that? And I can't. I absolutely cannot. The whole situation, a lot of it was the timing. It was where the moment that we were in technology, the newness of it, like all these things, components came together to make that, and to make it like in a sincere, authentic way that was like very experimental. And that is absolutely nothing that I can repeat. And I'm not the same person as when I started the website. I have changed phenomenally. Like there is a core of myself, of my identity, of who I am as a person. That's the same. And it's been the same my whole life. But just life and experience changes you because you get a broader sense of time. And that's the only way to describe that. Because time can be long. And you can have certain ambitions and ideas in your head, and then just over time, you're proven wrong, you're proven wrong, you're proven wrong. And it's like an experiment, and it's like a trial. And then you realize what you are capable of, and also where you are pleasantly surprised, and also what you have control over, but also how much of what an illusion that is too. So I don't want to say like you realize how your dreams fall apart, but you realize how fragile things are, how fragile people are, how fragile systems are, how fragile life is. And a lot of your illusions are shattered. Illusions or delusions, whatever you want to say. But like, I am lucky that when I was young, I had someone tell me, here's a pair of high heel shoes, do this, do this, do this. I had someone like teach me and groom me. And she was like my cheerleader, my coach. She coached me to do those things. And and I was young enough, and I just could do all those things with the high heels at the time, you know, and I could run up and down the stairs in high heels. I can't run as fast up and down the stairs anymore as I used to. Go to the dungeon basement. Click, 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 click. I can't do that shit anymore. I can't do it. I'm going to slip a disc in my back. Fuck it. Sciatica's real. But it clicked like that. And I just, I'm lucky that I got to be such a little fucking punk. And at the time, it felt so good. And then now it's like this circle of life, and you see the next generation of punks. Good for them. Good for them. They can get spanked harder. They can hit harder. And they can run in the heels. And I don't know the future, but I am not getting married again. I am not getting married again. I'm fine. I like my life. It's good. Shh. It's good. So I'm never getting married in real life again and documenting it for the internet. I can assure you. I like the fantasy, and I like reality, and I like my fucking sanity. So that's not happening again. So ask a dominatrix. Come on, I like being in the hot seat. I gotta answer for this shit. So throw me more questions, guys. I love them. I try to answer every single one that you guys send. And if you're listening to this, thank you for hearing me out. And I hope you had a good time and hopefully walk away learning something.